Good morning, guys. I'm here to present Creighton to you this morning, and he's from Untold Entertainment, a Toronto Flash game development company, and he'll probably give you a much better introduction than I'm currently giving now. So off to Ryan.
Good morning, everybody. I'm not really practiced at this, and I haven't given a lot of presentations, so thank you so much for helping me break my presentation virginity for this stuff. Though I do have a theater background, so I'm going to try to keep you awake. How's that party last night?
Yeah!
Yeah! Alright, yeah, cool. My name's Ryan Henson Creighton. I explained to people that I changed my middle name because I like the puppeteer. That's a true story. That's me and some monsters. That's my company logo. Sort of the style that we're going for because it's fast to draw and somehow endearing to people. We make Flash games. That's what the masthead across our site says. We make Flash games, and I am desperate to make something other than a Flash game so that I can change that to we make great games. I guess the games that make on other platforms also have to be great too for that to be an honest proclamation, but we'll see how that goes. I used to work for a company called Chorus Entertainment, who you may know. They're a broadcaster based out of Toronto, and they have a bunch of different stations, including YTV, it's a kids station, and Treehouse TV, which is like a little kids station. So when the little kids get older, they graduate to YTV and see more stuff with, I don't know, guns and sarcasm. So I did, oh, the slides look really terrible. So I did a bunch of stuff for them. I worked for them for 7.5 years. Really got my start there. I hadn't made a game in my life when I got the job there, and very first week I was there, they sat me down on the computer and said, hey, you've got a week, go make a game. So I did, and it wasn't very good, and it's actually on the site. I've got a great blog post about the story of when I graduated college and what it took for me to actually get a position in the industry. And I'll talk a little bit about that in some future slides. I'm writing a book, just finishing up now. I did the first draft and I'm doing more. It's not actually called Unity by the Seat of Your Pants, but I think it should be, because that'd be a pretty badass book title. But it's coming out in September, so who's used Unity? Yeah, and who likes Unity? Oh really? Okay, did anyone say they use Unity and they don't like it? Yeah, okay, Andy. All right, that's fine. It's fine, Andy. That's fine. I think Andy's got more of a hardcore background, but for those of us who just like to plug shit in and make it work, Unity's the bomb, as the kids say. So the book's really cool. We do 4 projects in the book. There's another book by the same publisher called Unity by Example, or maybe that's my book title. Anyway, that guy's Will Goldstone. He does another excellent book, so you should check that out. And definitely think about Unity. If you'd like to hear more about the book, leave me your card up here or put your name on a sheet, and I will gladly email you when the book is ready to go. God bless YouTube. This is how I found out about you guys when I was invited to speak. I was like, I have no idea what the heck Miramichi is all about. Nobody in Ontario knows how to pronounce Miramichi. I don't know how I knew, but so I watched Giver on the River. I don't know if you know this guy at all. No? He's a dude who does local events reporting. Yeah, Giver. So he told me all about NBCC. Love him. So the title of this talk is I Know Kung Fu, 10 Years of Gaming, 45 Minutes. It's from The Matrix, and I used to drop all sorts of Matrix references until I realized that the movie's 10, 12 years old. I used to work with a youth group at my church, and they're like, Matrix? I have no idea. I'm like, wow. So I hope you've seen the movie. There's a scene where they sit Neo down in a chair, and they jack this thing into the back of his head, and they play basically a tape of Kung Fu knowledge, and suddenly he opens his eyes and goes, I know Kung Fu. And then he gets in his time machine. That movie was awesome. So the hope is that I'm going to just sort of disseminate a bunch of crap that I've learned in 10 years of gaming, and you're going to suck it up, and then after 45 minutes, you'll know what I know. It's pretty badass, yeah? And a little bit of Kung Fu on the side. So these are just going to be a collection of tips for students and graduates, as the first section, tips for game developers and game design stuff, and then a little bit of tips for business. Suits. So we'll start with tips for students and grads. I got a little bit of an axe to grind, I gotta say. I hope some of the academics for the college are all out making barbecue, because there's a problem with Ontario colleges, and I'm finding that the problems there aren't necessarily the same problems that are here, and that's really nice to see. Ontario has many more opportunities. I mean, it sounds like here all you really got are the military base and whatever Gene's got cooking, right? So over there's a lot more studios and a lot more stuff going on, but the students there seem to feel a little bit more entitled to it. And when they go to college, they just want to sit back and be like, fill me with knowledge. You know, I've paid my tuition, make me smart. So it's brutal. But my first tip, though, is that college is up to you. It's not really up to the college, unfortunately, because they don't always have their game plan together. Now, NBCC sounds like a great school, and they're doing a lot of things right, and the programs are mature, which is excellent. You guys have a real big advantage there. But I mean, stop me if you've heard this one. Some of the problems that people complain about in Ontario from their colleges are the same ones all the time. College hires recent grads with no industry experience to teach. Teacher instructs directly from Photoshop Classroom in a book. You think, why didn't I just buy the book and skip the class? Teacher lets blatant plagiarism slide, despite the calendar saying we will behead anyone who plagiarizes. Seen that a bunch. School promises an excellent placement program and doesn't deliver, or employment help after the fact. But it doesn't sound like that's the problem here. Your teachers were in industry 25 years ago, and it shows, and they're dinosaurs, and they don't know what they're talking about now. They're saying, you know, back when we were doing animation on butter churns. It doesn't make sense. So, really, college is up to you. You have to sit and you have to absorb what you can. And the tip that I got about college is that this is one of the last times that you'll be in a situation where you can just go for it. Just learn every single thing you possibly can. The college is one resource of many. While you're there, you're put in with people who like the same stuff you do. So those people are a resource, and they can tell you about things that you've never heard of, and they'll tell you about sites, and those sites are a resource, and this is one of the last times you'll have time to actually peruse those sites and learn new things. Because when you're out of the industry, you might be worked to the bone, you might be on crunch times, you might have other, you know, you might even have to hold down a second job, smaller job, part-time job to make ends meet. You won't have time to just explore all this stuff. So man, treat everything like it's a big, juicy cow udder and milk it for every drop that it's got, right? It's up to you. You just can't sit and expect to be milk-fed the entire time. Tip number 2, no game demand a refund. Believe it or not, in a lot of Ontario colleges, they take these game courses, and some of them are more art skewed. And their final project is a walkthrough of a level in UDK. And there's no game, there's no rules, there's nothing. It's just like, and it's all the same. It's all like, check out my cool dungeon level. I'm walking around and stuff's made of metal and brick. It's all moody. And every single student has this final project, and they don't have any games. So, I don't think you guys are in this position, but if you're at a different school, or if you know somebody else who's at a different school, and they come out of these programs with no game, you wouldn't expect to go take plumbing at a community college and never fix a toilet. So if you don't come out with at least one game from your program, go back, get your money. Get your money back, that's what they do owe you. You need to finish something. I saw a lot of great projects next door in the student showcase. Not all of them are at 100% completion. I would recommend, even for something like a student showcase, don't show it until it's done, and make it done, are the 2 tips there, I guess. He who executes wins is something I say all the time. I think I mentioned in the panel yesterday, there was a friend of mine who did a game on Xbox Live, indie games, where there's like a pregnant lady, she shot a baby out and you had to hit a target or something like that. And that was an idea that I had, and I desperately wanted to make it, but he wins, because he actually built it. So it doesn't matter if I have all these amazing, you know, baby uterus shooting games in my brain, the guy who actually puts it on Xbox Live and makes 50 grand from it wins. So your ideas, this sounds really, really harsh, but it's really, really true. Your ideas, my ideas, are completely worthless. Nobody cares. In the case of the Teletoon picture, you guys were just in that session, it's a different story. That's where they can get ideas greenlit. Here, man, you can have, who's got like at least like 17,000 game concepts like in the back of the brain that, yeah, right, you want to build it, and it's like, oh, I've got this whole list of stuff that I want to build. Well, it's none of it matters unless you actually go and build it. And so one great thing that you should really do early on is to take all the ones that are really, really big and really, really beefy and sort of chuck them to the side. Take the ones that are small and manageable and finish those up, because no one's going to buy your game concept. That's a myth. You can't just go shopping around a game concept like you can go shopping around a TV show to Teletoon and they'll buy it. Even with the Teletoon thing, I don't know how many of you were in that session, but it's still, you can ask Mike, it's hard going through that race, and that race doesn't even exist with gaming yet because we're not as a mature industry. So think small, pick the ideas that you want to make that are itty-bitty. RPGs are a succubus, and that's what a succubus looks like. Very, very attractive, but will train you dry. Who wants to make an RPG? Yeah, don't do it. Don't listen to the siren song of the RPG call, because you won't succeed. And I tell you that honestly, you won't succeed right now because, and I'm not trying to be mean, everybody I've known who's ever tried to make an RPG or an MMO has not succeeded. So why don't we just screw that and save it for later? Don't kill your dreams, just change the shape of the dream cloud, and right now work on stuff that you can finish. Wouldn't you rather have 5 polished small games to show than this one kind of half-assed, well, she runs, but the run cycle's half finished, and this is where the enemy's supposed to be that you're fighting. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody's going to really make a big deal about you if that's all you have to show for it. 5 small finished games, though, hey, that's something. One small finished game totally kills 100 completely unfinished games that nobody cares about, and they don't play properly, and they don't look good. And the idea that you have for a small game is not a small game. I talk to students a lot, and they say, yeah, I'm gonna do a little game. It's gonna be like Halo, except without so many levels. And you're like, oh yeah, so you're really toning it down there. And they say, yeah. And instead of 14 guns, I'm gonna do I'll do like 7 guns. I'll really limit it. So the heart's in the right place. It's a good idea to think limiting, but instead of doing you think of a house and they want to do a brick on a house, you should really be thinking about the spec of brick material that goes into making that brick, and that's what you want to try building and finishing. And Andy made some really good comments yesterday about how he just made something, got it up really quickly, and spent 3 months on polish. That's really what you want to do. So think about these games. These games predate a lot of you, but this is sort of when I started getting into gaming, was the Atari 2600 era. And they were like, this is what you want to think of. When I say think small, this is what small looks like. This is a game called Crackpots. The graphics are ass, but whatever, you can put different pictures on it, right? Put a better skin. The way this one works is there are spiders, and they want to go to the top of the wall, and you're a dude, and you don't want the spiders to go to the top of the wall. So, in order to achieve that goal as the dude,